Welcome to BODS Mayhem Hour, your source for all hard rock, heavy metal, new metal, alternative, punk, horror punk, hardcore, rock, and all local bands, with your host, John the Bod, a.k.a. the Bodfather.
Hey, this is Noko440. Noko, am I dead yet? Noko, what other bands am I in? I can't even remember at this point in time. And you're listening to BODS Mayhem Hour, and may your God go with you.
The views and opinions of the guest do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of BODS Mayhem Radio Network, its staff, affiliates, or sponsors. Parental discretion is advised. Welcome to BODS Mayhem Radio Network.
Hey everybody, welcome to BODS Mayhem Hour. I'm your host, John the Bod, a.k.a. the Bodfather. As always, I'm bringing you guys and gals awesome interviews, and today it's an honor and a privilege to have Noko440 of Am I Dead Yet? Am I Dead Yet has released their debut self-titled album via Wire Sound label. So we're going to be talking to him about this and how this all came together. So Noko, how you doing, man?
I'm doing great, man. Good to speak to you.
Yeah, glad to have you on the show. Let's jump right into this, good sir. Yourself and vocalist Mary Byker from Pop Will Eat Yourself and Gaye Bykers on Acid came together to put this two-piece together. Who got the ball rolling first and to get this project going? Let's talk about that a little bit.
Well, we've actually known each other for a long time. We've been in bands together. We first worked together when I produced the first solo album he did after he left the Gaye Bykers on Acid back in the 90s. And the album's called Metaphasia, and it eventually became a touring band called Hyperhead. But there were a couple of slow songs on that album and kind of moody, film noir-y sort of things that we were experimenting with. And we always said, one day we're going to make a whole album like this. And like we've been in other bands together. We were in Apollo 440 together later. And every year we'd have this conversation where we go, you know what, isn't it about time we made that album? and it kind of took us till 2017, which was like 8 million years later before we actually finally got around to doing it. So it's been a long time in the making.
How's it been working with Tag Publicity so far for you guys?
Yeah, well, we've only done a few so far, but they seem to be getting stuff happening.
For you, what's impressed or excited you the most about working on this debut album, if anything? Is there anything that caught your eye about it that stands out for you? Well,
the thing is, I mean, we've both done very different things together, but we've never done anything quite like this. I mean, I've scored films and made filmic music in the past, but it's not really what Mary's famous for. And all the bands he's been in, he's a bit of a kind of rock and roll animal, kind of frontman thing. Mm-hmm. And this has given him the opportunity to sort of stretch out in a different direction. And I think it's been really good for him, and he's really enjoyed doing it because he's singing immaculately for the first time in his life, and it's really good, I think.
That was going to be my next question. Did this allow you to actually branch out and have more freedom to experiment with the creativity in this album?
Yeah, kind of. Because I mean, we've done the whole thing as a complete sort of cottage industry. We've made it us. We've done everything in the process. It's a self-produced, self-financed, crowd-funded kind of complete every skill we needed to learn during the making of this. We've kind of done ourselves, and that's been really liberating. That's been really good fun. I even taught myself how to edit video during the process of this, which is something I've been trying to talk myself into for decades. So it's been good. But what's been good fun about this is we sort of set ourselves a brief aesthetically about what kind of area we wanted to cover. And then we didn't really ever have any big high concept discussions about it after that. Everything just fitted into place. And usually if there's something that he doesn't like about what we're doing or something I don't like about what he's doing, we just kind of go, all right, there's probably a good reason for that. Let's actually change it. And without too much fuss or too much discussion or too much, angst. So that's actually been really good fun.
Any songs standing out more to you than any right now on this album? I mean, I know this changes from time to time, but are there any that stand out for you?
Oh God, yeah, it does change. I mean, it's like which of your babies do you kill first? You know what I mean? I don't know. Probably one of my favourite tracks is a song called "Joe Meek Shall Inherit the Earth." It's almost like a call to arms for all the kind of losers and weirdos and kind of misfits and maverick nutcases that kind of, which is where all great art comes from.
Was it hard to choose between the current set of songs on this album for you guys? Which one would be the first single, let alone a video?
No, not really. Not really. The video thing, again, we've been doing that with friends of ours, some very talented people that have contributed to making these, the videos we've made so far. And we've just done the videos to the ones that seem to have the stories. So we'll end up doing videos to all of them, because it's almost like in this day and age, if you don't have a visual counterpart to any noise you make, it's kind of, you almost don't really exist. So we're gonna do videos for everything, I think.
And forgive me if I pronounced their name wrong. Speaking of the videos, you guys have been working with director Ashka Kazedzria. How was?
Yeah.
I probably butchered her last name, but that's me.
That's all. She'll forgive you.
But how's it been working with her on Leaving Me Behind and Futuristic Paranoia?
Leaving Me Behind one was an interesting one, because there's a kind of sort of dark, claustrophobic atmosphere about that one, and we decided to shoot that one entirely in my bathroom.
Oh no.
We just decorated the bathroom, and we thought, you know what, it's looking nice in there. Let's actually just stick Mary in the bath. I'll sit next to him, and we'll use a really wide-angle lens, and the whole thing's all shot in the bathroom. So, and it's lit with a 1 Edison light bulb. There are no film lights in there at all. So the whole tone of it and the graininess is all down to like one domestic light bulb.
That's crazy.
Yeah. It's good. It just suited the song.
But that's cool, though.
And that's kind of how you make those decisions, and it's all been very organic and very natural.
That is cool, man, to actually come up with something like that. And, most of the time people are even scared to do anything like that. Like, oh no, we've got to have like a theatrical movie, like a video. No. Well,
it's funny because, that's good too. I saw Rammstein's latest video the other day, and it looks like they've spent about $10 million on it. It's a beautiful piece of work. But, not everybody could afford to do that. Right. So you kind of cut your coat according to your cloth,
Exactly. Do what you can do with, and that's it.
And that's part of the fun, just finding cheapo ways around doing all these different things.
Now, you guys produced this album yourself. Do you guys like having that freedom to do that, or do you want to work with a producer eventually?
No, I've never worked with a producer. I've produced pretty much all the music I've ever made all the way through my life in one way or another. And it's kind of part of the process. It's part of the auteur thing where you have an idea and you just see it through to fruition. And that's what's been fun about actually doing the videos this time. Because, it hasn't been farming it out to other people. We've actually just got mates in, and we've thought the concept through ourselves. So, I'm very much, my dominion in this group is very much the soundscape and the production of it. So it's kind of nobody else's business. So I know what I'm doing.
Who did the cover art for the album so far?
The cover art is based on, and even the name of the band is based on that painting, which was called Am I Dead Yet? And it was painted by my wife, Deborah Griffin, in 2015. And all the time we were working on the album, it was on the wall in the studio. So it was sort of sitting behind us. So, it just kind of, the name chose itself and the imagery chose itself, because it's kind of like this little sort of embryonic angelic figure that's either going up to hell or going down to hell, or going up to heaven, or disappearing, or hasn't been born, or is already dead, or I don't know. It's kind of, that's the ambiguity of it. So, yeah.
What do you hope everyone, Noka, takes away from this album, or message you hope they hear while listening to it, or just any of Am I Dead Yet's music in general? What do you hope they get from it?
I hope they kind of share the same emotions that we've had musically, and share the same frustrations with the way technology is letting us down in the modern age. And it's kind of some of it's kind of a dark, humorous spin on it, and it should appeal to a lot of people, because it's kind of, that's the dilemma we're in the 21st century.
Mm-hmm. I know this is a crazy question. I know you've been doing this for a very long time, but do you see yourself still musically growing from where you started from, or has it just been personal growth for you and Mary involved in this?
I think every time you do something, you grow a little bit and you learn a new thing. I always like to pick up instruments I can't play and do things, find interesting ways to create textures with instruments I can't play. And one of the things I did on this album is I bought on eBay. Have you ever heard of a string instrument called a cymbalum? It's like it's the largest instrument in the dulcimer family, and it's the national instrument of Hungary.
No, I have not heard of that instrument
Right,
before.
it's a big string instrument, and they use it on a lot of those European kind of spy themes and things like that. It's got a very gypsy kind of tone about it. It's a string instrument. You play it with hammers. Well, I bought one of them on eBay for absolutely nothing, and it was complete wreck. And it looks like it's been at the bottom of the sea for 100 years. It's all rusty, and it took me like a month to actually tune it. It's got 4 strings for every note, and I created some beautiful textures out of trying to get some tones out of that. And a lot of what would appear to be keyboard sounds on this album are the cymbalum. And that's been like a little voyage of self-discovery as well. Just throw myself into something I can't play.
Do you like to do anything differently during the writing and recording process? I know that's 2 different concepts of creating an album, but do you like to do anything to help keep your mind fresh and open to not get bored or not let the music get stale? Do you step away and then come back? How do you work this out?
Oh God, that's a difficult one. Yeah, it's always nice to step away and come back. But I think one of the things we did with this one is we didn't step away too much. We just immersed ourselves in this world and we just plowed on through until we got to the end of it. Because sometimes if you spend too much time reappraising and rethinking, you end up wanting to do things over and over again. And we didn't want to do that, because I've spent a lot of time in my life doing things over and over again. I didn't want to do it with this. I wanted to keep some spontaneity.
Working with Mary before, did this pretty much come easy for you two to work together, creating this music?
Yeah, I mean, we've worked in a few different bands together. Like I say, I produced his first solo album after the Gaye Bykers back in 1992. He joined my band Noko440 as well. So we wrote together and recorded together and toured the world together in that band. So we've spent a lot of time, in different contexts working. So it's just nice to set the parameters of a project and go, right, this is the sound we're making. It's not like that. It's like this time. So it's not on a Noko440 record. It's an Am I Dead Yet record. And it's kind of, it writes itself, to be honest.
What can fans expect at a show from Am I Dead Yet who have not got to see you guys live?
To be honest, we've only really just taken the show live in the last year, and we only recently we went out initially as a 2-piece with a laptop, because that was the only, we were doing it on the cheap. It was the only way we could get our whole production sound across. I was playing guitar and we were both singing. And we had the computer running. This time round, we've just played 2 album launch gigs in London and in Leicester, which is where Mary comes from. Mm-hmm. And we incorporated a new rhythm section, which is Cliff Hewitt from my band Noko440 on electronic drums, and a guy called Derek Thompson, who is known as the artist Hoodlum Priest. He made an album on ZTT Records years ago as Hoodlum Priest, and they're old friends of ours, and they brought a whole new dimension to our sound by just having like a real live rhythm section. So that's, it's just expanded and escalating all the time.
We're living in a digital era of recording albums to get music out quicker. Now we've got social media to reach out to more people. Are you liking this now that we're in the digital era of getting albums out quicker and plus reaching out to more folks with social media?
Well, you know what? It's kind of different. I mean, I've been through bands in the 80s and the 90s and all the rest of it. I've been on major labels. I've been on independent labels. I've made my own, pressed my own white labels and all the rest of it. This is just a different way of working, and you just rise to the challenges of a new way of doing it. And I'm not even on Facebook personally, but I like administering the band page and all that kind of stuff. It's good fun to do, and it's a new challenge to connect to people, and it's a very spontaneous way of connecting with people that. I probably would have got into that a lot earlier, and if it had been around. It's just you connect with people instantly. People who like your music, you can get to people all around the world very, very quickly in a way that you couldn't 20 years ago. So, yeah, I like it.
I've heard a couple of people tell me before that, this takes out the promoter. I'm like, well, you should be promoting your stuff also, not just the promoter wise. This is your band.
This is the double-edged sword of this now is for people trying to start off in music. Everyone, labels and anyone won't actually touch anybody unless they've already done this work and built up this huge fan base on online and all the rest of it. So it's kind of really difficult now to get people excited unless you've got 3 million hits on your what's it page or all that stuff. So it's tough for people. Whereas all of a sudden all of the avenues are open and all the it's there for people to express themselves. It's still very difficult to rise above the sheer amount of people doing it because it's so easy to do now. So I don't know.
Noko,
I don't know whether it's any different, really.
Noko, what made you want to become a musician? What was that spark for you that said, yeah, I want to do this?
Oh, God, wow. I remember as a kid, the first music I really got into was T-Rex, Mark Bolan T-Rex, back in the 70s. I loved the glam rock thing. I remember the first time I saw Mark Bolan, I just thought, bloody hell, that's like so much more exciting than my life. I love the weird language of those records, like that him and Bowie, had just the vocabulary of those songs was just this weird other world. And I thought, I came from a suburban part of Liverpool in England, and that just seems so exotic and so weird and so like magical. And that's what did it for me. Those guys.
Growing up over there, how was the music scene when you were little? I mean, was it like booming? Was there a lot of pubs like having bands accepted and the music that they played?
Well, you know what? It's like when I first started playing as a musician. I mean, I played my first gig almost like about a month after I started playing. I played my first professional gig when I was 15. So it's kind of it seemed like quite an exciting time. And it was the punk rock time, really. So it was like everybody was forming bands, and it was, I don't know, it was again, it's this thing about doing it for yourself.
Yeah.
And it was easy to do it for yourself.
That's it, man. And I can't stress that enough for folks out there listening. I mean, if you're going to create music, do it for yourself, but also you gotta stand behind it. How are we supposed to stand behind you if you can't stand behind your own music,
Absolutely.
Is there a country that stands out or shocks you that you guys get support from?
Well, you know what? You don't get to choose where you're successful. And something I really loved about my other band, Apollo 440, is that we first, it seemed like all of us, the first country we got really big in was Germany. And, we were like top 10 in Germany. And, you think, why Germany? What is it about the German people? What is it that connects? And then all of a sudden we started getting really big in Eastern Europe and all the Russian countries and all the Eastern Bloc countries. And you think, what are we doing that's like communicating with people in those countries and not in other countries? It's fascinating. It's fascinating. But you just go where the love is. Like
I've said a million times, music is the voice of all languages.
Yeah. It's a meta language.
It is. Is there a band on the bucket list for you that you would like to work, tour with, or maybe even do an old school album split with, possibly?
Yeah, or I don't know. People always used to ask that when I was in Apollo 440. People would say, "Who do you like to remix most?" I would always say, like, we either want to do Madonna and Metallica, or both at the same time. Ooh. And it's kind of I mean, we're open to anything, It's hard to say. I can't think of anything right off the top of my head, really.
You hit the nail on the head with my favorite band right there, Metallica. Oh my God.
Yeah. Like Metallica's here.
That band saved my life.
Oh, wow. Excellent. Hallelujah.
Noko, how can folks stay in touch with you guys? Buy some merchandise, tour dates, all the things. How can they do that?
I think the most direct way, as we just discussed a minute ago, is probably our Facebook page, because both me and Mary are looking at that page every day. So if you've got something to say to us, you'll get an answer like within a couple of hours. And we've got a website as well, which is amideadyet.co.uk, where we've got merchandise for sale, and you can buy the album from the Wire Sound label on their website.
And before I let you go, good sir, would you care to do a promo for my show?
I will. I'm not very good at this sort of thing, but I'll give it a shot. Hey, this is Noko440. Noko, am I dead yet? Noko, what other bands am I in? I can't even remember at this point in time. And you're listening to BODS Mayhem Hour, and may your God go with you.
Everybody stick around. We have some great stuff coming up, and you only hear these interviews right here on BODS Mayhem Hour and BODS Mayhem Radio Network. Please get out and check out our Facebook page. It has our podcast link, YouTube link, and hopefully soon our Twitch link. And also get out and check out Am I Dead Yet? You will not be disappointed. And check out Noko's other bands and Mary as well. So thank you, Noko, so much, and the best of luck to you guys.
Cheers, man. A pleasure speaking with you.
You're listening to BODS Mayhem Hour.
Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.